Gentlemen, listen closely, not because I'm telling you something new, but because I'm reminding you of something you've forgotten. There's a powerful truth most men miss. Women don't fall in love with what you look like, what car you drive, or even how much money you have. They fall for how you make them feel, and words, when used the right way, become your strongest weapon. What you say has the power to unlock a woman's heart. It can disarm her defenses, stir her soul, and make her choose you over anyone else. So if you've ever wondered what to say that makes a woman lean in, smile deeper, and connect with you emotionally, you're about to discover 6 powerful statements that, when said with authenticity, no woman can resist. Gentlemen, if you want to say something that melts a woman's heart, this line right here is pure gold. Not because it flatters her ego, but because it touches something far deeper, her soul. Let's be real, women hear compliments all the time. You're beautiful, you look amazing, you're sexy. These are nice, sure, but they're surface level. They scratch the shell of attraction, but they never reach the core. But when you say, you make me feel peaceful just by being near you, you're doing something radical. You're flipping the script. You're telling her that her presence, not her performance, is what affects you. Think about that. Most women are under pressure constantly. They're expected to look good, act sweet, be accomplished, stay polite, stay soft, and do it all while being emotionally available. It's exhausting. So when a man comes along and says, just being near you calms me, he becomes the safe space she never knew she was craving. Peace is rare. In a world of chaos, pressure, competition, and digital distractions, peace is the most seductive energy there is. And when a woman hears that she creates peace in you, you're showing her something profound. You're emotionally self-aware, you're present, and you see her as more than a pretty face. You're recognizing her energy, her feminine essence, that unspoken aura she carries that relaxes your soul and quiets your mind. That's the kind of compliment she remembers for years. Why? Because you're not just seeing her, you're feeling her. Here's the secret. Most women aren't used to being appreciated for the intangible things. They're used to compliments about their lipstick, their outfit, their body. But when you notice what she radiates, not what she health, you create a connection that's soulful, not just physical. And guess what? The moment you tell her you bring me peace, she'll start to feel peace around you because you're creating emotional intimacy. And emotional intimacy is the bridge to irresistible attraction. This kind of statement tells her she doesn't have to perform for your approval. She doesn't have to entertain you or impress you. She just has to be herself, and that's more than enough. When a woman feels she can exhale around you, she opens up. Emotionally, mentally, sometimes even physically. You become her calm in the storm. And trust me, that's something no woman forgets. But let me be clear, this line only works if it's genuine. Don't use it as a tactic. Don't fake it. Say it when you really feel it. Maybe you're on a walk with her and you suddenly realize your thoughts have slowed down. Maybe you're sitting in silence and you feel completely at ease. That's your moment. Lean in, look into her eyes, and say it slowly. You make me feel peaceful just by being near you. Let it land. Let her feel the sincerity, because when a woman makes a man feel safe, emotionally centered, seen in the silence, she realizes she has a kind of power most don't even recognize. And you become the one man who doesn't just want her body, but cherishes her presence. That is irresistible. I notice the little things about you most men miss. That one sentence holds more emotional power than 1,000 generic compliments. It tells a woman something she rarely hears in a world obsessed with surface level attention. You see her, not just the polished version of her, not just the version that gets dolled up for photos or social events, but the subtle, raw, in-between moments that make her real. Most women go through life being partially noticed. They're seen when they look stunning, when they wear the right outfit, when they play a part that the world has decided is desirable. But deep down, every woman longs to be seen in her entirety, especially the parts she thinks no one notices. And when you say to her, I notice the little things about you most men miss, you're not just making her feel attractive, you're making her feel known. Notice the way her nose crinkles slightly when she's genuinely laughing, or how she unconsciously hums when she's focused. Maybe it's the way she taps her fingers when she's nervous, or how her eyes light up when she talks about something she loves but thinks no one cares about. When you notice those things and bring them up gently, naturally, you're doing something most men never do. You're validating her humanity. And that is far more seductive than complimenting her curves or calling her hot. This kind of attention shows that you're present, that you're not just scanning for the obvious, that you're actually tuned in to her rhythms, her emotions, her expressions. It tells her that you're listening not just to her words, but to her energy. You're picking up on cues others are too distracted to see. And do you know what happens when a woman feels truly seen like that? She softens, her defenses lower, she stops trying to impress you, and instead she lets you in, because she realizes you're not chasing an image of her, you're embracing who she actually is. That kind of presence makes you unforgettable. You don't have to say something poetic. You don't have to rehearse a perfect line. It's the authenticity that matters. You might just say, "You always tuck your hair behind your ear when you're thinking. I think it's really sweet." Or, "I've noticed how you always pause before you give your opinion. It shows how thoughtful you are." And in that moment, she'll feel something she doesn't feel every day, emotionally naked, but safe. Women are used to being praised for what they put effort into, their appearance, their career, their accomplishments. But when you point out the effortless, unfiltered moments, it hits differently. It reaches a deeper layer, the part of her that wonders if anyone notices the woman behind the mask. So when you say, "I notice the little things about you most men miss," you're not just standing out from the crowd, you're speaking straight to her soul. You're letting her know that nothing about her is invisible to you. And that is the kind of emotional intimacy that builds a connection stronger than lust, stronger than flirting. It builds trust. And when she trusts you with the little things, she'll begin to share the big things, her stories, her fears, her dreams, and that's when the real magic begins. I feel like I can be 100% real with you. These words strike deeper than charm, deeper than flirtation. They signal vulnerability. And to a woman, they carry a quiet power that few men ever tap into. Because as much as women want to be seen and heard, they also want to be the safe place a man comes to when he takes off his armor. When you say this to her, you're not just giving her a compliment, you're giving her trust. Most men walk through the world wearing a mask of strength, control, stoicism. They've been taught that to be a man means to keep everything inside. Don't break down, don't show weakness, don't talk about what hurts. But the truth is, real strength isn't about hiding. It's about having the courage to show up exactly as you are. And when you say, "I feel like I can be 100% real with you," what you're really saying is, I don't have to perform. I don't have to pretend. I don't have to be anything other than me. That moment of raw honesty makes you magnetic. Because to a woman, nothing is more attractive than a man who trusts her enough to be authentic. Not just tough, not just smooth, but real. She wants to see beyond your confidence, into your doubts, your fears, your flaws, not so she can judge you, but so she can connect with you. Emotional safety isn't just something women want for themselves. They also want to provide it. When a woman hears that you feel safe enough to be fully yourself around her, it activates something powerful in her. She feels not from South chosen. She feels that in a world where everyone is trying to imposter, you've given her something rare, your truth. And that truth builds something more valuable than immediate attraction. It builds intimacy. It tells her she's not just your date, your fantasy, or your pursuit. She's your refuge, your resting place, the space where your soul exhales. Think about how rare that is. Most conversations are layered with filters, saying what we think the other person wants to hear, editing our words to sound impressive. But when you say, "I feel like I can be 100% real with you," you strip away all the layers. You let her see the full version of you, not just the polished highlights, but the whole picture. And when she sees that version of you and accepts it, something beautiful happens. You give her permission to do the same. She opens up. She stops editing herself. She shares things she doesn't tell just anyone. And that's when a bond starts to form, the kind that doesn't rely on chemistry alone, but on truth, trust, and emotional closeness. This Wonderline tells her you're not afraid to be human, that you value connection over control, that you're not here to impress, you're here to relate. And that makes her feel chosen for something far more meaningful than just attention. It makes her feel like she matters. So when you say, I feel like I can be 100% real with you, you're not just expressing a feeling, you're building a bridge from your heart to hers, one that's strong enough to carry not just attraction, but something much deeper, something unforgettable. I admire how passionate you are about the things you love. This isn't just a compliment. It's a reflection of attention, depth, and emotional intelligence. Most people live their lives craving to be recognized, not just for how they look or what they do, but for why they do it, for what lights them up from the inside. When you tell a woman this, you're telling her you've seen beyond the obvious. You're speaking to the fire in her soul, not just the smile on her face. So many women go through life feeling like their interests are overlooked or underestimated. They're complimented for their beauty, praised for their kindness, maybe even admired for their ambition. But rarely do people take the time to notice the passion behind what they love, the reasons they fight for certain things, the glow in their eyes when they talk about something that truly matters to them. That passion is deeply personal. It's sacred. It reveals the truth of who she is. When you say, I admire how passionate you are about the things you love, you're telling her that her fire matters, that her drive isn't just functional, it's beautiful. You're showing her that her energy is attractive, not just her appearance. And when you admire a woman's energy, it sticks with her. Because now, you're not just attracted to how she looks, you're drawn to her essence. Passion is magnetic. When a woman talks about something she truly loves, whether it's a creative pursuit, a cause she believes in, a subject she's fascinated by, her voice shifts, her posture changes, she comes alive in a way that's raw and real. And when you see that and say something about it, you're giving her something so rare, recognition of her inner world. That's a level of attention that very few people give, and that's exactly why it makes such a lasting impression. This kind of compliment creates emotional connection because it's not based on surface level admiration, it's based on presence. It says you were listening, watching, paying attention to who she really is. And it also tells her that you're the kind of man who values depth, that you're not just here for entertainment, but for meaning. That's rare, that's powerful, and it doesn't have to be a grand statement. Sometimes all it takes is you saying something like, I love how your eyes light up when you talk about your work, or you're so passionate when you talk about helping people. I really admire that. In that moment, she feels validated, not just for what she does, but for why she does it. This kind of admiration also fosters emotional intimacy, because when you admire someone's passion, you're honoring their values, their drive, and their sense of purpose. You're not trying to change her, fix her, or mold her into what you think she should be. You're appreciating her for what she already is. That kind of validation makes her feel safe, respected, and inspired all at the same time. So many women are used to hiding or toning down their intensity, especially if they've ever been told they're too much or too emotional. But when a man sees her passion and celebrates it, he becomes unforgettable. He becomes the rare person who doesn't just tolerate her fire, he admires it. And that, more than anything, makes her want seen by him again and again and again. When I'm with you, time just disappears. There's something almost magical about those words. They don't flatter a woman's looks or compliment her style. They go deeper. They reach into the emotional experience she creates for you. When you say this, you're telling her that being with her pulls you into a space where the world fades away, where clocks lose their meaning, and where you're completely present, not because you're trying to be, but because she brings you there effortlessly. Most people walk through life half distracted, half listening, half invested. But once in a while, you meet someone whose energy makes everything slow down. It's not because they're loud or demanding, it's because their presence feels real. And when a woman hears that she makes time disappear for you, she feels like more than a momentary distraction. She feels like your escape from the world. In that one sentence, you've just told her that her presence is not only noticed, but deeply felt, that being near her creates a kind of stillness, a flow, something that's rare and meaningful. You're not saying you're bored when she's not around. You're saying that when she is around, everything becomes lighter, calmer, more vivid. You lose track of time because you're finally not waiting for the next thing. You're right there with her in the moment. And for a woman, that is one of the most touching things she can hear. Because it's not just about the hours you spend together, it's about the quality of those hours. She doesn't want to be someone you pass the time with. She wants to be someone who changes your experience of time itself, someone who draws you out of your head and into your heart, someone who makes you forget about your phone, your stress, your worries, not because she demands it, but because her presence replaces it all. When you say, "When I'm with you, time just disappears," you're not talking about time at all. You're talking about connection. You're saying, with you, I'm at peace. With you, I'm fully alive. With you, the world fades out and I'm exactly where I want to be. That is powerful. That is emotional intimacy. That is presence. And the beauty of this line is that it makes her feel unforgettable, because no one forgets the person who made them feel timeless. You're letting her know that she isn't just part of your day, she transforms your day. She becomes the moment you want to linger in. And that's the kind of impact a woman holds close to her heart. This kind of energy is what creates deep bonds, because it's not forced. It's not a line you drop to impress her. It's something that naturally rises up when you're with someone who resonates with your spirit, someone whose company makes hours feel like minutes and whose absence makes minutes feel like hours. So when you look her in the eyes and say, "When I'm with you, time just disappears," you're giving her something better than any expensive gift, your undivided attention, your heart, your mind, your soul, fully tuned into her. And that's a feeling she'll want to return to again and again. Even if nothing ever happens between us, I'm still glad I met you. These are not just words of kindness, they are words of depth, of truth, of sincere emotional maturity. This isn't about trying to impress or seduce. It's about honoring a connection without needing anything in return. And when a woman hears this, it disarms her, it softens her, because it's so rare in today's world to meet someone who values a moment shared without attaching conditions or expectations to it. So many women are used to interactions that come with pressure to respond a certain way, to give something back, to meet someone else's hopes or fantasies. But this statement breaks all of that down. It tells her that she was appreciated for who she is, not just what she could become in your life. It says that your gratitude isn't based on whether she chooses you romantically, but simply because knowing her has made an impact on your heart. You're telling her that her presence alone was enough. Her energy, her personality, her essence, these things matter to you. And whether she becomes part of your story for a season, a reason, or a lifetime, you'll carry something meaningful from meeting her. You're giving her dignity, space, and respect. And that speaks louder than any smooth line ever could. There's beauty in releasing expectations while still being present. That kind of emotional honesty builds trust. Even when the relationship isn't defined, it tells her that she doesn't need to perform or pretend to hold your attention, that your appreciation for her isn't fragile or transactional, it's real. And that's incredibly attractive because it makes her feel emotionally safe, not just desired. When you say, "Even if nothing ever happens between us, I'm still glad I met you," you're making peace with uncertainty while still embracing connection. You're holding space for possibility, but you're not clinging to outcome. And that kind of calm presence is powerful. It communicates confidence, balance, and respect for her autonomy. It also shows emotional generosity. Instead of focusing on what you didn't get or what might not work out, you're focused on what did happen. A moment of honesty, a meaningful conversation, a laugh shared, a glimpse into someone's world that may not lead to romance, but it still holds value. And ironically, it's often this kind of open-hearted detachment that draws people closer, because it signals that you're grounded, that you're not driven by ego or scarcity. You're not trying to take anything. You're simply present, open, sincere, and appreciative. That is incredibly rare. And because it's rare, it lingers in her mind. This one sentence tells her that she made a mark on your life, no matter how big or small, that your paths crossing was something meaningful to you, not because of what you wanted to gain, but because of who she is. That kind of impact is something women hold on to, because it tells them they're not just memorable for what they do, they're memorable for who they are. So when you say it and truly mean it, you offer a kind of freedom that feels like a gift. And it often opens the door to deeper connection, precisely because you're not trying to force one. You're simply allowing her to be herself and letting that be enough. And in doing that, you become unforgettable. So the next time you're with a woman who stirs something in your heart, don't try to impress her with grand gestures or flashy words. Speak from a place most men are too afraid to touch: your truth. Let her see that you're paying attention, that you feel something real, and that you're not afraid to express it. Because when a man chooses authenticity over performance, when he speaks with warmth, clarity, and emotional courage, that's when a woman listens with her heart, not just her ears. It's not about having the perfect line, it's about having the kind of presence that makes her feel safe, seen, and special. And when you say the right words, words that reflect not just what you want, but what you see in her, what you feel around her, she won't just hear you, she'll remember you. Because you didn't just speak to her mind, you spoke to her soul, and no woman can resist that.